Hi and welcome to this tutorial. I will be breaking down a little bit this effect because I had a lot of requests and I decided to explain a bit what's going on. This is a shader I did, and you can download it at my Gumroad. I'll be explaining a bit the main idea behind this, not every single value because it will be too long and too specific, but I think you will understand by the end of the video how this is working. Before we start, I want to explain a bit for maybe there are advanced users that already understand this, but I'm trying to make it so everyone can kind of understand what's going on. I will use texture here to make it easier. Okay, so by default this is using the UV texture coordinates. The coordinates are ways to apply the image to your objects based on the coordinate system that we have. We have the x-axis represented by red and the y-axis represented by green, and we also have the z-axis represented by blue. The same happens with the coordinates. If you never saw this, for example, the UV here, we have a red color that starts on the left and at 0 and grows to the right to 1, and the green starts here at 0 and goes there to 1, and that's exactly what happens with the image. It takes the image and places it in that order. So, for example, if you use object here, it will do this because we have 0 here, so places the image there, and it repeats the image. Same happens if we, for example, go into edit mode and we scale this. But for example, if we change this to clip, you will see that only from 0 to 1 it's mapped there. Okay, so this is just to explain that the coordinates are made of colors, and I will show you that you can alter them to kind of tweak or deform the way the image is applied to the object. For example, here in generated, it's basically the same as UV because what you're seeing here different in color is because of the z-axis, that in this case, since it's based on the object, we have the dimension on z is 0, and it takes it is not 0, it is not 1, the value for z is 0.5. If you, for example, use a mapping here and you remove the z completely, you will have the same color as the UV. Understanding these concepts is important, because if you're going to change and alter this, you have to understand what you're doing. So we will start with this. I will use separate. What this does is just that, separate the colors one by one, and they are represented with the value. 0 is black, and the white represents 1. And I'm going to combine them again here. So you see, if you plug this on the X, it will make it red, but if you plug this on the Y, it will make it green. So you could change the direction of the image. What we are going to do is play a bit with this. We're going to use math here. I will plug the X. First, I will subtract 0.5. This will give me, on the X that was from 0 to 1, now goes from minus 0.5 to 0.5. Now I will use absolute. That will give us only values, not the sign. So we have 0.5 here, 0 and 0.5 again here. So for example, if we plug this to the X again and we use this vector, you will see that the image is mapped differently. We have 0.5, that was the middle of the image, going to 0, and 0 to 0.5. As you can see, the part of the image that is shown is the same. It's like on a mirror. The other side of the burger is not showing. If we, for example, invert this, you will see the other side of the burger, because now it's going from 0.5 to 1, and you're seeing that part of the burger, of the image. Okay, that's simple stuff. Now, for example, if you make something less linear, for example power, you will see that it's like this is no longer linear. It's like it's accelerating on the end in this case, and the opposite when we are closer to 0 here. So if you plug this on the X and you see the image, you will start having distortion, for example, like this. Okay, I think that shows a little bit the concept of altering or deforming the coordinates. That's one of the things we need to know to start. Then the other important thing is I'm using geometry, the incoming vector that because there are, for example, camera, it kind of moves always facing the camera, but it also rotates with the camera, so that was not what we needed. And I'm using incoming that it's like it's a vector that is so always that it changed depending on the angle of the point of view, but it doesn't rotate with it, with the camera or the view. That's exactly what we need to create the effect. So now I will explain a bit how I did the vanishing point. Okay, so to start, I will use vector math and absolute to mirror the vector. Then I will use separate. I will create a mask that is one on every point. Like this. And here I will use maximum of X and Y to create this. We have this on the X and this on the Y, so when we use the maximum of each, we get this shape that goes from 0 in the middle to 1 in the border. If you need to check that kind of values, you can use a math node, set it to greater than, and change the threshold. You will see that at 0 everything is greater than 0 as you start we have a value that starts at 0 in the middle and grows to the borders, and then we will use divide 1 by this, and as you divide closer to 0 you will get a higher number. So this point is virtually infinite. And then we use vector math again to multiply our vector for this value, and we get this. If we plug this to the texture, we have this going to infinite there. We can use, for example, to see it more clearly, map range node here, and we will change, we will make the 0 grow a bit so it doesn't reach infinite in this case. And as you see, we have something already similar. Of course, to make it more accurate and all, there are other things going on and masks and stuff that it's hard to explain all in one video. But I think you get the idea of what's going on, at least. And I will show you a bit the final version. Here we have the object coordinate, and I'm rotating and scaling depending on the position of the initial position of this plane. And here I'm separating, these are the masks that, as we did, we are dividing the mask and creating, we are creating 3 different patterns for each one. This is the horizontal mapping going to the infinite in the middle. This is the vertical one, and this is the plane that goes on the back. Then I'm using one mapping for each of the 5 different planes inside. The vertical one, for example, here I'm using another mask done with the incoming vector to make it move like this. It's like the horizontal line. And I'm plugging the same pattern we have here on 2 different mappings, and each of the mappings goes to one of the sides, gets mixed there, then they get mixed with the horizontal, with this is the mask for the vertical and horizontal patterns or colors or vectors. And then with this mask we mix the back, and we finally get this. And then I have here exposed all the mappings for each of the areas. That's why you can put whatever you want from the texture. You can select like a region and place it, map it on each of the, I don't know how to call them, planes inside the plane. And well, I think that covers it. And it's not super simple to understand, but I think you will have a better idea now. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.